Okay, cancel. Eurostream are missing. No streaming. I want to start recording. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bring Your God Down podcast. I thought we'd take a different approach today, right? So I want to talk about Rocco Rompamuro. Talk about where did you start? How did this? I'm sure there's a lot of people that like to know, where did the character come from? How did it all become to life? Because obviously, Rocco is a Rompamuro is a character. It's not No. It's not real life. It's not real life, but he's real life. You know what I mean?
Fictitious.
So let's switch. Let's put Rocco on the side for a minute, and let's introduce you to the amazing talent that actually created Rocco Rompamuro. I think a lot of people would like to know, how did Rocco come to flourishing?
Oh, yeah. Flourishing. Okay.
So anyway, go ahead.
Well, Rocco's the name Rocco Rompamuro came up because when myself and three of my dear friends decided to get together collectively one night, because we had all worked in the music industry. This is how this thing started. We knew each other from the music industry. My friend Dom and Michael, the engineer, and Justin, who is a singer currently out there. I don't know what he's doing, but so we got together and we figured whenever we'd play these gigs, survival gigs, parties, weddings. I'm a professional drummer and have been since I was a child, since I was 7 years old. So we're looking at over 60 years, so about 63 years. I'm 70 years old. But I spent a good portion of my earlier years, from the age maybe of 11 to 26 years old, in the heart of Little Italy, which at that time was St. Clair Avenue in Dufferin. That was Little Italy. The original Little Italy in Toronto was College Street, but then everybody tended to migrate north.
Is that where you were born, in that area? Is that where you grew up? Or?
Well, actually, no. My birthplace is southern Italy. I was actually born in just outside of Bari, Italy, in Puglia.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's
where my mom's from.
Your mom, right.
Yeah.
So I get Michael calls and says, let's get together. We're going to have a few laughs. I have this 4-track Tascam machine, and we were all sitting in his bedroom, in his townhouse, and we had pillows all over the floor. This was a straight improvisation.
Yeah.
And he was having some work done to one of the walls in his.
So you guys were like old friends.
Old friends.
And you decided that you're just gonna get together and shoot the shit.
Basically,
kind of like, what year is this?
So this would have been 2003.
So this is kind of like one of the world's first kind of podcasts, basically. But you could look at it that way. A bunch of guys getting together, recording.
Yeah.
Just recording.
Yeah,
That's
good
pretty
point.
cool.
Well,
so it was Michael
Saracini.
Yeah.
And Dom Lunardo and Justin.
And who are you? Because you haven't said.
My name is Vito Rezza. That's who I am.
Yeah.
So when Justin was playing his role was the role of Harun, because of Justin's cultural background. I think his mom was, I think, from Pakistan, and his father's British. I'm something of that nature. But he decided to choose Harun and a radio program that Harun had, and he asked me, "What character are you going to play?" I was sitting on the floor, and because my wife's father's name is Rocco,
right,
and he had passed away just 3 or 4 months before the birth of our second child, I decided to call the character Rocco. But in giving him a last name, I realized that Michael was having some drywall work done in his house in the bedroom, and there was a big hole in the wall. So I said Rocco Rompamuro, which means wall breaker.
So, but what made it be a boxer versus, let's say, a soccer player or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that Rocco, the Rock, when you think about Rocco Marciano,
right,
that he was the Rock.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be Rocco, the boxer, because Rock, the idea that Rocco has hands like made of stone. They used to say that about Roberto Duran, the great fighter, welterweight fighter, manos de piedras, right? Stone hands. So I decided that Rocco was going to be a boxer, and he's a little bit punchy. And this was a straight improvisation that we did between Harun, Justin, and Vito, who was Rocco. But the original improvisation was 20 minutes long. And at that time, to release some of the content on those 27 minutes would have been a little bit over the top for a lot of people to digest, to absorb. It wasn't appropriate. So it's still kind of inappropriate. But Michael, who's an engineer, had trimmed that down. The edit was down to 13 minutes. And it was released as the Punjabi Power Hour.
And so when you mean released, so how was it originally released? Because obviously there was no YouTube or no internet, really.
We did 4 CDs. We just burned 4 CDs with the information after we've mixed. And we sent it to 2 friends, 3 friends, to Michael's chiropractor, and he sent it. And then via the internet, people started to send this clip out that was 13 minutes long. Hey, the Punjabi Power Hour, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. And it just started to spread like wildfire, unbeknownst to us.
Right.
Because even at that time, tracking who was listening, how many times it had actually been hit, this was all newfound knowledge, information digitally. We had no inkling as to what was going on. But boy, did it spread like wildfire. And then we ended up doing...
So you released this thing, this thing grew from just 4 CDs that you burned.
Yeah.
Gave it to a few friends, and it went from there. That's crazy.
Went from there.
You have hundreds of thousands of views and listens on this that you know of, like that can be looked at today or counted today. But I'm sure, the first time I heard it would have been probably shortly, because I remember I went to Nino Diversa Bakery in my neighborhood.
Right.
And there was a bunch of guys just around a car.
Oh, really?
Like 5, 6, 10 of my friends were all gathered around the car, and he had this tape, a cassette of this Rocco Rompamuro, right?
Right.
I guess it would have been, Jesus. So that would have been, early 2000s, like really, probably just after you released it. In fact, one of our old podcaster guests back in the old days, Claudio, that was his card. He had the tape.
Oh.
So that would have been probably 2000 and the summer of 2004, maybe.
Yeah.
When was the big blackout? Was that 2004 when we had the blackout here in Toronto?
Yeah, there was the power outage. Where everything was down. Traffic lights
for a day and a half or something. Anyway, it was like either before that or just shortly after that. So I think 2004.
Right.
And then we're all gathered around, and
that was a great day for me. I had a great day.
Yeah, I did too. I loved it. I loved it. But anyway, and then my neighbor had the generator on, but didn't matter because everything was down. Phones, TV, like you got nothing. So you had power, you could turn the lights on. But anyway, and then I didn't know it was like I've known you from a long time. I've known Vito since I guess early 80s. So
well, when you had your band Simon Chase,
83, 82, 81, 83. That's and but I didn't know it was you, right? I had no idea. I'm going, this fucking funny shit here.
Most people did not know.
And I said, and I remember, can you make me a copy of that tape? So everybody was asking for copies. So Claudio would make copies of the cassette.
I didn't know that.
And he would hand them out.
I didn't know that.
At the Nino Diversa. So
wow.
There's probably hundreds of people that got the copy of the at the one in Steeles and Young there. Nino Diversa, Steeles and Young.
I did not know that.
That's when I first heard it, and I didn't know it was you. So I can see it was so funny and so well done and completely improvised, of course. It wasn't scripted.
Not a word.
So, and it spread like crazy. So what happened after that? Obviously, like you guys did some shows and did some live appearances.
We started doing,
So how did that come to be? Like, how did it go from, because you had a comedy group called
The Impolites.
The Impolites. So
the first CD was called Live in the Impala.
Right.
Hence The Impolites.
So was this after you released Rocco or before?
This was all after.
So after you released Rocco,
right?
you then put together this Impolites thing.
Well, we realized at that point that this thing is really taken off.
Right.
And there was a place out in Woodbridge, the owner of this place called the Ice Cream Patio asked us to do our first live show.
Wow.
And we did it.
Where was this?
We did 2 shows. It would have been on Roundtree, just south
like
of
in
Highway.
A hall, or what was
in
it?
his ice cream shop where
Is
they had
it?
a hot
No
table.
way.
Yeah, tables for instead of people
Yeah.
eating with the whole weekend was shut down. So Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and Sunday night we did 3 shows there, and they're all sold out. And the show was really, really, it was rough. There was nothing slick about it. We didn't have any stage experience. I mean, I've being a musician, I've also worked as a character actor. Mm-hmm. I've been on over 65 films with some pretty notable people, including, guys like Danny Aiello, Tony Danza was my first film, Chaz Palminteri. I worked with Olympia Dukakis, many, many, many very, very well-known actors. And it was all character roles. I wasn't an extra. Mm-hmm. I was principal or I was character. I did 5 films with Tom Selleck. So I had acting chops already, aside from my music chops. And we started doing live shows, and we had a couple of little sets, and we had some clothing that we used to wear. We had some costumes. But we only had points that we used to hit during the different segments. Everything that I did was improv. So for an hour and a half, one show ended up being over an hour and 20 minutes long. Just my skit with Harun, the Punjabi Power Hour, was all improv. I would break away from any points that he had made. Mm-hmm. I would take off. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And we had sold out shows at Caesars, 600 people, 650
So
people.
you went from the coffee shop.
Yes.
You did 3 shows. How many people would have been there, would you say?
We had, I would say per show, we had maybe 100 people per show.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And so you did 3 of those, and then how did it go from there to playing bigger venues and like?
Well, people would ask us to do a show, and they would have like a dinner and show at Caesars at Highway 400 in Finch. It was a big Italian banquet hall. Dominic, great guy.
Yeah.
And so we did, and then there's like, he'd call, I sold 500 tickets are sold the first week.
No
We had
kidding.
650 people. And sometimes we had Orson, our great friend who does stand-up comedy, he warmed up for us at the Ice Cream Patio and a couple of those other shows as well. And he was playing at Yuck Yucks and making $150 a pop.
Right.
So the only way we could actually see any money from the work that we had done was to do live shows, because everything was free.
Right. Yeah.
It was public domain, basically,
yeah.
right? Then we did some CDs. When we do shows, we would sell some CDs, but there was nothing monumental in terms of our sales. It was the live shows and some of the CDs and what people sent to each other. As a matter of fact, one of the skits that Rocco did with Harun was right after the Italian national soccer team had won the World Cup in 2006.
Yeah.
When Zidane had headbutted Materazzi,
Yeah.
and Rocco went nuts on that. He's marching the head. I can't believe it. This is Zidane. He giving us that. He gave him a diabetes from it. So Rocco he became Judge Rocco. So we did a whole skit on the fact that Zidane had done something so horrible and so illegal on a soccer field on the pitch. And there was a DJ in Italy, in Rome, who heard it and decided to put music to that, Judge Rocco.
Right.
And that song with Judge Rocco telling some of the stories, just snippets, sound bites of what Rocco had said in the skit, he put in on top of the song. And that song went all over Europe, and both soccer teams, France and Italy, the players all heard it.
Right.
So they called me and they started calling Rocco Il Mito di Rocco Rompamuro, the myth that is Rocco Rompamuro. This was all unbeknownst to me.
Right. That's crazy.
I act funny because I'm an idiot. I still act like a 9-year-old. But to tell you how the actual Rocco character, who he really is, comes from my connection to Calabria and the Calabrian people that I love. Mm-hmm. They're my best friends, so many of them. My friend in Italy, one of my dear friends, Vince, and my cousin Vince. These are all Calabrian people. My other friend Rocco is a wonderful lawyer, and Cosmo. And I grew up with Calabrians, my friend Joey and Tony, and I love these people. And so the character has a lot to do with how the Calabrians, the kind of passion and how they enunciate their words when they speak English, because there is a lot of Calabrian slant to the expression within the English word, the English language. So there was the Calabria history, the people of Calabria, as I said, and my father adored them too. He was actually a great soccer coach in Toronto for the best team, the greatest team that I think Toronto ever saw, which is Calabria. And we used to watch them at Earls Court Park when we were kids. You know, we'd steal a loaf of bread from the bakery and then chip in and buy mortadella and make a sandwich at Earls Court Park to watch Calabria play soccer on a Wednesday night.
Right.
So my father's love for the Calabrian people became my love for them. But there was also a couple interesting characters on St. Clair. There was Enzo Upazzo, Crazy Enzo, who was a milkman. And he used to drink anywhere between 35 to 40 espresso coffees a day.
No kidding.
Yeah. But Tony,
that's
he was
the connection with your espresso coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, no kidding. There
and he was a milkman, but when you drink 35 espressos, you shake and
you make milkshake.
Yeah, but the bottles used to fly out and break, right? Plus I added some maybe fictitious aspects of this character that he loved to gamble. He was a great billiardini player and played for money. So Enzo was like, hey, Enzo, how are you today? Oh, not bad. Everything's okay. No, I don't want to try to lose control. You know, want a coffee? Want a coffee? Enzo, how many? You got to slow down, man. Like, how many coffees have you had? Nah, what do you mean coffee? I used to drink a 40 coffee a day. Nah, I cut them back. You said, really? You cut the amount that you drink back? How much? How much do you drink now? He says, I drink maybe 25 or 26 tops. What do you mean tops? It's 26 espressos, right?
Yeah.
So
wow, that's amazing. So Enzo Opatz was the kind of gave you some of the creative inspiration.
And then there was one other guy. His name was Paolo, and he had very, very curly hair and wore a scarf. And he prided himself as some kind of an Italian poet. But he used to point at things all the time. So I ended up calling him Paolo la Freccia. Freccia's arrow.
Yeah.
Don't ever ask Paolo what time it was. Paolo, what time is it? Well, when I look at my clock, I look at my watch, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, where you going to go? Someplace over there? Where you going? No, Paulo, we're going to go downtown to buy an album on Yonge Street. Well, you take the streetcar over here at Dufferin, you go straight over there, you're going to go east, you go Yonge Street, to go south and the south. He used to point at everything. So there lies the origin of the Rocco Rompamuro.
Wow.
Enzo Upazzo.
Yeah.
Paolo La Freccia, the Calabrian culture that I adore, and sitting in a room with a broken piece of drywall, Rompamuro, and if you'll notice in the skit, he actually says, I'm Rocco Spaccamuro.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Because he's punchy, and that was not intentional. That was just Spaccamuro. I forgot that I was Rompamuro.
Yeah, because there's people that actually said, oh, Spaccamuro. They actually refer to you as Spaccamuro.
Correct.
And then, no, it's Rompamuro.
Correct.
But it's Spaccamuro. And I said, no.
Right.
So I've had this debate with certain people over the years.
Right.
Because it was Spaccamuro on the tape.
Yeah, he starts by saying Rompamuro, then halfway in the interview with Haroon, he goes, hey, listen, come for a round. I'm Rocco Spaccamuro. Yeah. He gets confused. But then, if you think about it, he's a boxer.
Yeah.
He's taking a lot of shots in the head, so he forgets who he is, right?
So those two guys, are they still around?
I don't know that they're... I think Paolo passed away some years ago, like maybe mid-80s.
He was older when you met him?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, but, you know, Tony, the funny thing is, the strange thing is, it's very strange when you consider, you know, a 60-year-old person today. When you have recollection of what 60-year-old people looked like back in 1975, but you look great. And back in those days, in 1975, if you were 60, you looked like what would be equivocal these days to someone that's 85.
Yeah, well, sure. When you break the filters off your cigarettes because they're not strong enough, you know, they smoke 3 packs of those a day.
Oh yeah, I smoke aspartame.
You know, and then the 5-star whiskey, where
oh my God,
that's what they gave the immigrants. That was the welcome package to Italians that came to Canada.
Correct.
Export 8 with filterless, a wheelbarrow, and 5-star whiskey and Red Cap beer.
Oh, remember Red Cap? Oh my
it.
God.
Anyway, so they looked rough back then, eh?
Very rough. Sure. Very rough. And
tough life for these people.
Very tough. Very tough.
Not like here where they give it. Oh, sorry.
Go.
No, we don't want to get into it because here now everything gets handed to people when they come.
Oh,
back then they worked their asses off to achieve whatever they achieved. There were no handouts to the people that arrived here in the 50s, 60s, 40s, even early 70s. Then it all went to shit. So you did a bunch of shows then as this whole Impolites thing, right?
The Impolites, we did a whole. I think altogether we did. I think maybe 39 or 40 shows over, and that would have been over a 5-6 year period. Mm-hmm. And we did not pursue it. Yeah. We did not pursue doing live shows. People pursued us. They called us.
You probably would have, could have at that time if you had some more.
Could have.
You probably would have been huge.
With what's going on these days with social media and the potency of what it does, right?
Yeah, and I believe there's so many spin-offs now from, like I've seen at least, I don't know, a dozen copycats.
Really?
Parmesan. What's that girl's name? She's a total ripoff of. This woman.
Oh yeah. What
was her name?
Olga. Yeah, she's fantastic at what she does. But I met her. What a funny coincidence.
Her name? Parmesan. And anyway, she has a character too.
Rosina Parmigiano.
Yeah.
They did very well. Very very well as far as I know. But funnily enough. Her name is Olga. She's a great person, fantastic person, and she's really talented at what she does. She's Calabrian. Mm-hmm. She's hardcore, born in the culture. Mom and dad, great family. But I met her because she was dating a friend of mine when I was like 20 years old. We didn't know we were going to do comedy like 40 years later. Right. She was a great lady, and she used to own horses, and we used to go there and horseback ride. And so to re-see her again years later, and she did very, very well.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. I think they were a lot more on top of it in terms of their organizational sense than we were.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that I've seen that try to be that Italian Rocco style character.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, if I and I don't say this boastfully, I say this very humbly. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a difference between someone I'm not Calabrian, but I speak the dialect fluently.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of homework, and I spent a lot of time, as I do when I work as an actor. As I was telling you earlier, I've done 65 films. I did 5 films with Tom Selleck. I played Tony D'Angelo in the Jesse Stone series. So I'd write my biographies and how I was going to construct this character and everything that's involved on a human level as to who this person was. So for someone that's Calabrian to do Calabrian comedy, that's not really a stretch. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's a stretch. And they're straight improvs, and I'm not Calabrian. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people understood that. The people who would come out to see us at the shows, and we would do meet and greets after the show, were all really stunned when they finally met me. Because first of all, many people thought that I was 5'4" and weighed about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
By the voice.
Yeah.
And a lot of people assumed that I really couldn't speak English at all.
Well, many, many years ago, you remember you and I, we took a cameraman and we went to Vaughan Mills. This is what blows me away about this thing, right? We were walking around with a camera and a mic.
Yeah.
And we were asking people to tell us jokes.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember?
Great day.
This is online. You can actually look at it on YouTube. Go Rocco meets Woodbridge Girls.
Right.
And it has 100,000 views or something, just that video. Anyway, and we're walking around. It was completely spontaneous. This guy starts to talk like your buddy there in Punjabi Power Hour.
Right.
And I just go, this is Rocco Rompamuro, right? Mm. And they go, no, you're not. And one of the girls goes, he's my uncle. Like everybody took ownership that they knew you, right? And then obviously you go into character and you got to watch the video. because you'll see what happens next, right?
Right.
These people knew all the lines, and they
All
were
of them.
young, like younger people. And that's when I, we've been doing this podcast for some time, right?
Yeah.
And I said, maybe people should really know, because when people meet, they don't know the connection between Vito the person and Rocco the character.
Sure.
When they put
Sure.
it together, it's like,
Yeah.
what the hell, So these guys were blown away. They knew the lines. They were like, just go watch it, search it on YouTube. Rocco meets Woodbridge, or Rocco Rompamuro, Woodbridge Girls. And it was a pretty amazing little skit. But so that's why I thought maybe it's a good time to get people to know who and how
Right.
this all came to be, right?
Understood.
So, but anyway, so as people know you, connect, I've called you. I've been on the golf course.
Sure.
And golfing with straight, like, there's, I know this guy. Like, I would talk in Italian with my friend.
Right.
And he goes, I used to know this boxer, Rocco Rompamuro. I go, yeah. And I would call you. Say, you want to talk to him?
Yeah, I remember
And I'd
that.
call
Yeah,
you.
that was good.
They get blown away, right? Oh,
Yeah,
you
wow.
actually know. And then made their day. Like,
Wow.
they were like, so.
I'm
So I
glad.
think the character brought a lot of joy, and still does, because you know what? We're doing this every week. And,
Yeah.
and Rocco continues to deliver laughs and joy to people. Like, you have a fan base, as people have to know. We have to get more people to learn about you as a person and
Right.
the character, I think. So this is a good opportunity for people to get to know you.
Sure, sure. I mean, I appreciate that, but there's a very, very touching story, and I'll try to get through
Do
it.
tell and take your time.
Yeah, I get very emotional about it because it involves a lot of hardworking Italian people that had to leave their homeland. We got a phone call from a gentleman who owned a sweater factory in Medellin, in Colombia. And I'm pretty sure he spoke with Mike, and he said, hi, are these the impolites? Yes. Well, okay. We just want you to know that every day we play the Punjabi Power Hour over the speaker at work. And since you released this Punjabi Power Hour, our production has gone up between 40 and 60%, especially for the Italian people that worked there who were of Italian origin. They felt so at home, and it touched me so much that I couldn't get through Mike finishing to tell me the story. It just touched me because of the immigration of hardworking people, not immigration of people that come here and mooch off the system.
Right.
First of all, these people that do come here and mooch off the system, they all speak English very well because in their homelands, they learned how to speak Oxford English. Italians couldn't speak shit. We knew 4 words, and we had $3 in our back pocket. And then they were sent out to lay 1,200 bricks a day at 12 cents an hour in Mississauga, which is a suburb of Toronto for anyone listening in different parts of the world. That touched me, and it hurt me to know. There's a lot of details because the Italians, like Stevie Wonder said in a beautiful song he wrote years ago called Living for the City, one of the lines from that song is, he speaks about a little girl. Her clothes are old, but never are they dirty. And so Italians came to Canada, and anywhere they immigrated to, their clothes were old, but they were never dirty.
Yeah.
And their lawns were always cut and clean.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these comedians talk about stuff like plastic on the furniture. Yeah, even we had it too. Once I fell asleep on my mother's couch, but she needed a spatula. I sweat so much I was sticking to the furniture.
That's for sure.
Right?
We had this. I've got photos of that in my living room. I do.
Right.
I have photos of my living room in 1970s with plastic on them.
Amazing.
And it was only, you're not allowed to go even in there.
No, you can't.
They had like the velvet rope.
Exactly.
We're not even.
Velvet,
It was and green carpet that was vacuumed with the special striscia.
That's
in the
right.
Carpet
And the show towels in the bathroom.
Oh, the show towels.
You don't use the show
sorry.
towel. That's for showing the company comes over.
You can't. You just everything. That's
Right?
what we call la bellezza.
La
bellezza room.
Right.
Holy
and
shit.
then one of the other things that was really, this is not so much touching, was funny. When we started doing live shows, the first time we did a live show in Hamilton at Carmen's, great place, great food, great people. And there were busloads of people that came in from Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. Do you understand how far that is to go to Hamilton? Man. And after the show, I mean, I used to have the odd little sip of drink there. You know, I don't drink anymore. I haven't had any alcohol since 2010. But at that time, we used to have little shots of vodka before the show and after the show. And I go into one of the buses to say hello to some of the people that were going to bus home after the show. It was hysterical. Everybody was still laughing. And I had one guy run up to me, and he says to me, with tears in his eyes, he's holding his wife's hand. I didn't know it was his wife. Clearly it was someone close to him. And he says, Rocco Rompamuro. And he runs to the front of the bus, and I'm standing there. All these people are clapping and offering me shots on the bus.
Right.
And he hugs me. And he says, Rocco, I love you so much. I want you to come to my house and sleep with my wife.
Yeah, no way.
Anytime. Yeah. I almost lost my mind from laughing. And it was his wife who was standing beside him, and she goes, I'm okay with that.
No.
I'm just telling you, the people in the heat of the moment, an extra drink, funny things. Because when you bring out the best in people, I mean, I'm just trying to be funny, make people laugh, because it makes me feel good. I mean, I have specifically selfish reasons for wanting to be funny. Because most people that control a room sometimes think that they're funny or think they're interesting, and they really are not. Because you can feel the sense of control that's more important to them. I don't care. I'll make a mock of myself all day long.
Yeah, I mean, so many famous comics got famous over the Italian culture.
Oh, that's a great point that you made.
You know what I mean? Like
a great
making
point.
fun of, like even Jerry, our friend Jerry D.
Oh my God!
Used to talk about his hockey sticks, and they would always disappear because the Italian neighbor would cut them and use them for the tomato plants, or, going fuck off. You're gonna go fuck off. Fuck off. So, yeah, a lot of comics made their mark using Italian, kind of culture and just. They're amazing. Italians are fucking the best.
Oh yeah. Well, recently as Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, but Sebastian Maniscalco. This, again, I don't say this. I say this with all humility. The stuff that he does, I was doing that in 1971 on the streets of St. Clair. Sebastian Maniscalco was born in 1973. I'm born in 1955. Get over yourself. If you think I like what you're doing, I like that it's physical comedy. He's really, really good.
Yeah. But he's a good storyteller.
Yeah,
but he's telling stories
correct
that have been told hundreds and hundreds of times.
Correct.
It's not new, and it's off the backs of, Italian. Like, they're making fun of we did a podcast about Italian words that were invented because they weren't like the furnace, the fornace.
The fornace, yeah.
Or the basement.
The basement, the truck,
the trocco, yeah.
Yeah.
And these things were happening.
Italese, as it's called.
Yeah.
There's actually a book.
So we were doing that stuff. Like this is in the 60s and 70s. And now they come back and they take it and they do a bit about it. You know?
Right.
So...
which is okay.
Yeah.
Which is okay. But you got to stay true to your roots. And when I say that, what I mean is you have to stay true, not so much to the actual language or the culture. It's like Italian people are funny. They talk about Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Paganini, all these great artists, Volta, the Galileo, all these wonderful people, Machiavelli. They say, noi siamo Italiani, we're Italian people, that's my intelligence. I go, yeah, but what did you do? What have you done in the last 50 years?
Yeah.
And what have you done? Other than go out and buy Led Zeppelin, right? Yeah, Led Zeppelin. Okay, what have you done? So, make a contribution. Don't let it, put the onus on the backs of the people that are trying their best to keep, first of all, the culture alive in a foreign country.
Yeah.
You got to do it in a way that people don't hate you. I think for example, the Irish, I dig the Irish people a lot because there are a lot of really, really interesting aspects to their culture that they've brought into North American culture, which is usable, which is funny. When the Jewish people, some of the things, some of the words that they use, in Yiddish, that's integrated into the English language, for example. There's a lot of these wonderful words and the history behind how they got framed within the North American culture, right? These are the beautiful parts of all cultures. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that are woven into the fabric, right? So don't just talk about what the Italians did in the 14th century, 13th century, 18th century. Yeah. What are you doing today? Well, if your lawn is well cut and you're well dressed and you can say something that's relatively intelligible, you're already ahead of the game. That's all we ask for. Yeah. Make your contribution to the culture. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Now, in my neighborhood where I grew up, my dad's lawn was you could tell the Italians.
Beautiful
lawns. They were all. And then now they got Chesterfields in the front lawn where they sit and hang out. It's gone to there's no pride in ownership and having beauty.
That's a good
You
point.
know what I mean?
That's a good
so
point.
my parents' neighborhood where it was amazing is gone
really
in the toilet.
Completely, right?
Completely in the toilet.
Yeah, no disregard, disrespect.
They don't give a shit. They don't care.
It's just, but let me ask you, just to frame this a little bit more now. Is it disregard, disrespect? Is it because people are lazy? Is it because they're just apathetic?
I don't know. I look at where they come from. Is where they come from beautiful at the end of the day? Now look at Italy as a country.
Oh.
Like everything is about beauty, architecture, clothing, cars,
art,
everything. It's just presentation. I think it's pride and beauty. I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
You come from, I don't know, Iran, or what do you see? Dirt, sand. There's no beauty.
Yeah.
There's no understanding of it.
Mind control, abuse.
Yeah, it's just they haven't had the ability to understand, appreciate it. They come and and I think that's the key. It's that foundation of understanding and how to create and maintain take pride and beauty of things. Look good. Like you said, your lawn, and you come from, places. These people come here from places where that doesn't exist in their homeland. I think that could be it. I don't know, or they just don't. I have no idea.
Well, that's a good point.
Brainwashed, maybe. I don't know, but. And it's contagious, like people would come and ask my dad, how do you get the lawn like this? How do you do the flowers?
Like a putting green.
Yeah. And it was like
beautiful.
And then the backyard was like, grapes hanging and
the
garden and every vegetable you could want.
The smell of cucumbers in the summer.
The tomatoes. And, everything was like, and people would just come by and he would just give people stuff, and that's gone, man. Now, even my dad's place, because, they put grass where the garden was.
Exactly.
They got rid of the grapes, and the lawn has got weeds in it for the first time in 60 years.
Well, even the Italian ingenuity, you took the weeds and you took the chicoria and you boiled the chicoria and you made pasta chicoria.
I remember seeing the old ladies on the side of the road picking the chicoria for
it. Sometimes embarrassing with those big ass underwear they used to wear.
Yeah.
But this is, it's striking that so many. There are people that come from certain parts of the world and make comments like, we were one of the very first civilizations. Yeah, but you live under a dictatorship. What kind of civilization is that? Civilization? Is that what you call civilization? Excuse me? You take away the will of a human being and you want to be considered civilized. No, you're not civilized. That's not civilized.
No, it's... Yeah, it's...
That's when Rocco has to go over there. I do some training. I go, I fight a few guys. One time I went to Afghanistan to fight over there.
With Bobby Bosic there?
Bobby was driving my truck. He was driving my truck over there, yeah. What happened, I used to they buy me a dog. Remember the Rocky?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what was his
Butkus,
name?
The dog.
Butkus, yeah.
Yeah. But he's not the real Rocky. I'm the real Rocky. I told you in the movie, in my story, Punjabi Para.
Yeah.
So they buy me a nice dog. So what I used to have, he was an Afghan. I said, why Afghan? Because one of the tank, they run him over, and he was Afghan.
Afghan, yeah.
So they buy me a new dog.
Yeah.
And I told them it's a Calabrian Retriever.
Yeah.
Right? A black one.
Yeah.
So now he training with me, you know.
Yeah.
But I think my dog, he give a butt kiss at that Sylvester Stallone. Very hard time in that dog. He can beat him up.
Yeah.
Because my dog do training. He does aerobic in the morning time. And then he does a technique training in the ring in the afternoon. And then at nighttime he does a yogurt. You know, the Indian people. And you got to breathe over there. Yeah, that's why my dog in shape.
Is that where yogurt was invented?
Yogurt was invented, originally was invented in Calabria.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Quello latte delle pecore.
Yeah.
Goat milk.
No, I'm talking about yogurt with the stretching.
Oh, yeah, yogurt, that's one. Mistango, remember? I used to do Mistango yogurt. Yeah. And the guy says to me, where did you come up with that? Well, I said, Ashtanga yoga. And then, Mistango yogurt. Yeah. So it was close.
Yeah.
And if Rocco the boxer could deliver it, it would always end up being funny. You know? Anyway.
Yeah. So, and so it's funny because for me, we started in like 2018 to try to do something to bring the character back, with the Rocco character. And we started to get a little bit of traction, and then COVID came, and we had to shut it down. That casino there, that was a disaster. But but I think it's so. Have you guys ever thought about getting back together or doing more shows, or was that just kind of pittered out, or
no?
Like why? What was sort of the apex of it?
Well, I don't think that's not a possibility now, to get back together as a comedy troupe, the Impolites per se.
Right.
But with Mike and Michael, we've remained. I mean, he's like you to me. I always say, I have like.
Why don't we get him on the show?
I've asked him. He's a wonderful man, and he's real smart, very, very talented man, without a doubt, extremely talented, and he has a beautifully aesthetic eye for things. He does some work with Italian wines right now currently. Beautiful. He's explained a whole bunch of things. He would be a great guest to have. But all this to say that Michael and I have done 2 or 3 like short little like so-called mini shows, just him and I, because he would be like the straight man or play the role of one of the characters that he built back in the original characters was Jonathan Swank on the Jonathan Swank show. So sorry to interrupt, but people don't realize the Impolites album
was actually someone surfing the radio.
The radio.
Yeah, so and changing channels, and you came onto the Punjabi Power and other. So the album actually has other radio.
Yes, other frequencies. Yes.
Yeah, because the car broke down, or like
the car broke down. For sure. Well, yeah, that would be the Impolites, the first one. We have 4 CDs out. We have we're not done yet. You see our heads in an oven. We're still cooking.
Yeah.
Behind the 8 ball, and it's been a long time since I've even seen them. I don't even remember the 4th one. But we have 4 CDs out, and this is all like the fairy tales. When Rocco tells the story of the 3 bears. Once upon a time, there was 3 bears. So that was all. I did that story for my friends on St. Clair when I was 16, and I started to tell the story of. I started it as English as I thought English was, being a student in high school at that time, and then I went to, once upon a time, there was 3. Once upon a time, there was 3 bears. There was the Papa Bear, Giuseppe, his wife Maria, and the baby. Bear, Chicho. And they are grizzly, big guys, And so the story would go on. So that was a straight improv too, with Goldilocks coming in. But I think I'm going to do a couple more on the shows that we want to do now with Mike.
Yeah.
I think Rocco's going to do some other fairy tales now.
I think this idea of, I think you have to look at in this platform to do those shows as opposed to kind of creating a show,
right?
Like use the I mean, it's a suggestion.
It's a good one.
To use the podcast format
to
create the content, because once it's recorded, obviously it can be cut, and then be distributed in all the channels, right? That is, that because nobody buys content that way anymore. They consume content and advertise, pay for the content.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So it would be cool to do a few of those just bits like live on not live, but we record them on the podcast, and then
Well, it might be nice to. I like that idea. I mean, like maybe doing like once a week, have a series of 5 weeks where we do 5 different fairy tales.
Yeah, something like that.
So Rocco Wednesday night at 8:00 is the
help your kids fall asleep.
Right. Help your kids, right.
They have that Calm app. We'll have the Rocco Rompamuro app. Listen to this before you go to sleep. In the morning.
I start my day with 1 gallon espresso coffee.
Exactly.
It takes a long time.
Takes a long time. Yeah. But I think I would even have Rocco explore some cooking channel stuff.
He loves to cook.
He likes to cook, right?
Yeah,
so anyway,
he loves to cook.
So then it kind of plateaued as of getting back that we started this thing up and we were shut down. So because I think the character is really funny because there's certain catchphrases, like I'm not scared. Yeah. Right. And there were a couple of them that you guys came up with.
Put your guard down.
Yeah. That's why we used to put your guard down. Bring your guard down.
Right.
So
I love you and nobody else.
Yeah. And so it's been
the eternal lie, right?
Yeah.
When you're someone's best friend when you're with them, right? And then when you move on to the next group of friends an hour later, I love you and nobody else. Yeah. Rocco loves everybody and nobody else, which is a lie. He loves everybody, but he says I love you to be specific. And to really squeeze
connect
out
that.
Connect that and squeeze out all the toxicity of lies. He wants you to know that he loves you and nobody else. Right. It's only you. Yeah. I only have eyes for you. You're one man, it's friendship, my loyalty is to you alone. But, he loves everybody.
So you as Vito, right? You're a very accomplished drummer.
Right.
Yeah, you've done.
I try. I'm still. I
got
study every day.
You've got albums out under your band name.
Yes.
Those are all online too. You can listen to those. I think people should go check that out because it's an amazing stuff. 5 After 4 is it?
That was I called that band for a little while. I haven't done anything since 2018. Mm-hmm. It's almost like there was an intuition. I knew something started to feel. It started to feel tragically wrong before the so-called pandemic or whatever that was. Yeah. And 2018, January 28th, was the last time that Vito Rezza with 5 After 4 performed at this club in Hamilton. The name escapes me. Mm-hmm. And we've never performed again since then.
But you still, you're still honing your craft. You work out every day.
Every single day.
And you do it for the right reasons. You don't do it for notoriety, fame.
No.
You do it because it's just pure love,
Yes.
And it's kind of what we do why we do this.
Exactly.
We do it because
exactly the same reason.
It's we just love, if we can bring smiles to a few people's faces,
of course.
We've done our job, I think that's important to do. Importante. And you've done, to me, you've done movies, you've done shows, you've worked with all kinds of actors, you even worked one of the greatest of all time, Frank D'Angelo. You've
Frank's a great guy.
You've worked with all kinds of great people,
guy.
So it's and life lessons, But I always take it back to the, when I look at stuff today and what's content and how much of it stems from inspiration of
right.
Things people did way back,
Right.
So I think it's important for people, not that, we're going to reach millions of people. You never know one day that where the origination of this character and how it came to be. I think it's really, I think there'll be a lot of people interested in this story. You know what I mean? So let's, to
add to what you said, Tony, just so you know, in 2003, when Michael had finally pressed these 4 CDs with those 13 minutes, I told those guys one night at a rehearsal, because we were doing the Ice Cream Patio, it would have been our first live show. I said, you guys better be careful. This is going to blow up in your face. This is going to take off. My guts were telling me, not that I'm the kind of person that actually has their finger, any kind of a pulse, but, as on a human level, as you, who I consider to be not only a great friend, but also a very successful person, you have your finger on the pulse. You have a creative output about you all the time, and you can see things that are coming. You could feel things that are coming. That time, I could feel something was coming with this comedy thing. And so I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but what I've gathered these days and what I've been told by people 2 or 3 generations behind me, now the sons and daughters of those guys that were already a generation behind me, now they're listening to Rocco Rompamuro. This was purely accidental. Please, ladies and gentlemen out there, you know, I don't use pronouns and tough shit.
Yeah, but too bad you didn't call me before you released that shit, because we would have made it an international phenomenon.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
we would have. It's okay. We're still never too late, because you're right. Like what I look at my 12-year-old and what he's listening to, what he's familiar with, songs that are 70s.
Wow,
like,
incredible.
He knows the songs. He's starting to hear them, and they're starting to.
And he likes them, right?
And of course.
Wow.
Pink Floyd. Oh, you know,
what's there not to like?
Yeah, like he's listening to stuff like, and he knows them. You know, he knows these tunes and stuff. And I go, well, where'd you learn this? Well, I hear these on TikTok.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I think because, let's face it, you know.
Yeah.
You want something real, you have to go back in time. You want something fake, you got to go to what you are today. Everybody's a fake AI copycat. There's limited creativity.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. When was the last time a really great rock band, or just a great band period, has come out of North America that's done more than 3 successful recordings?
Oh, I don't. Not a clue.
Everything is like auto this, tune this, make it sound like this, tribute that. Yeah, they're, you know. So it's inspiration. They go back and look at old shit for inspiration and say, okay, let's Well, it's the only place you can get what's real.
Yeah, you have. Well, that's a thing. And also to add to what you're saying, I really like that. You know, what is real? It seems to me, and I think we can agree on this, that so many people these days, they do things out of a fictitious nature. They create this reality fictitiously that they try to pass on to others as reality. It's just make-believe. If you want reality, you can hear it on anything analog from 1968. Put it on. I don't care what album. I don't care if you're listening to comedy, Dick Gregory, or the great comedians of that time, right? The George Carlins. Listen to the content with these guys. Listen to what, now people are up there, even on comedically, they tell you a story about, like I heard one comment, one sort of cliche comment that one of these current comedians made to someone when they got stuck at a red light with someone that had just cut this other man off. And he turned to him and he said, why don't you just suck a bag of dicks? And I thought to myself, really? That's the best you can come up with? There's got to be something better than that. I mean, what cheese? What cheese is that? What? It's you got to. That's your level of creative output comedically. So you need to fill yourself up with things that have sustenance.
Yeah.
Well, if it's music, if it's film, if it's cuisine, it doesn't matter what it is. You have to have sustenance. And beautiful to see your 12-year-old, he's got parts, he's got sustenance already, you know, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I also, you know, if you look, there's an office here and you can see what's on the office there.
Right.
What is that? See it? Underneath, there's a turntable.
Yes. Yeah. The best.
I said, hey, start listening to some albums, buddy. If you want to look, they bought some albums.
That's the best.
Listening to the turntable.
I just noticed that. Well, that's the best. And
that's a guy that's in his early 30s. So,
whoa.
It's fun. Yeah. And, but I love this. I saw a clip today. There's a U.S. senator walking, old guy, probably in his 80s, 70s, you know, U.S. Republican senator.
Right.
And the kid, he asks him, what do you think about this leak that just happened? Are you concerned about national security? He goes, no, but I am, you know, he says something like, just like this, yeah, but maybe don't worry about the security. Just go make sure your mom has your pizza pockets ready and has your Nintendo your Game Boy turned on when you get home. Right? Great line. Just like Yeah, who the fuck are you dummy? What have you done in your life, to question national security?
Thank you.
And then another guy, walks down, same thing. What are you worried about national security?
Yeah.
But and he goes, I'm more concerned about your fashion advisor. Like, who taught you how to dress like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are great hits.
You know
those
what I mean?
really,
like, that's because what have these people done in their lives? Like,
of course.
It gives you, like, they have nothing to show for any accomplishment. It's like, wow. Anyway, but, I think everything goes around, comes around.
Yes.
Hopefully it comes around a little quicker because we're doomed if it doesn't,
Yeah.
And so that's cool. So now everybody that listens to this gets to know who Rocco Rompamuro is. Not that he's going away. Rocco's going to... Actually, can we have Rocco back for a bit?
Yeah, Rocco, he never leave.
Hey, Rocco, so we were just talking to your buddy Vito there.
That's nice. How you doing? Okay?
He's doing okay.
That's not a bad guy.
He says Pompation, he made you.
Oh, yeah,
he was
sure.
Pompation, and then all of a sudden Rocco was born.
For the nation.
It was a nato in Calabria.
Yeah. In Calabria. I got baptized in the mountain of Aspromonte.
Yeah.
Waterfall over there. Yeah. Never mind the Viagra Falls over there.
Yeah.
No.
Have you been to Viagra Falls?
Viagra Falls? I don't use that shit.
No?
No,
Never.
I ate Sazitsa.
No.
The one in the hole, that gives me the power.
But you never use Viagra?
No, I don't use Viagra. I don't need it.
No?
No, I don't need it.
How many times do you Pompation a day anyway?
A day?
Yeah.
No, I cut them back now. I do once a month.
Okay, Rocco.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you on Tuesday night. Actually, we have somebody very interesting coming.
Who's coming in there?
He's a guy you're gonna see. He's an old Italiano, born in Italy too. I think near where you were born.
He's famous.
He's famous in his own mind.
Oh,
I like those people.
Me too.
That they think they're famous. So we'll see you on Tuesday. But let's bring Vito back.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, so just want everybody to know in the world out there, the origins of Rocco Rompamuro. I think people are interested, and now we have a record of it, and you can, when you see him on the street, you can say hello to Rocco or hello to Vito.
Absolutely.
But
say hello, because it's nice either way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just say hello, and hey, if you ever want to come on the show, you got a great story to tell. I think you can message us on one of our channels or DM. What do they call DM?
Yeah,
direct
DM.
Message.
Is that what it is? Direct message?
I don't know. I get the kids to run it for us. We have Mark,
DM.
and we have Johnny, and we have Liam and Aiden, and they all run our social media, whatever. They do all that stuff for us. Yeah, we don't do. What do we do? We don't know anything about that kind of stuff. So, want to thanks Vito for doing that.
Thanks for doing that. My pleasure. It's nice.
You know what I mean? Once in a while, we're gonna do shows where it's just Vito and Tony and the guest.
Good.
And others where it's Rocco and Tony and the guest.
Absolutely.
And it was great, guys. We'll see you soon, and we'll talk to you again soon. And
I love you, nobody else. Okay.